Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Tremmel a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their two locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs. What's up, everyone? It's Morgan Thomas here with the Morgan Thomas Show. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday night. I'm glad to have you with us tonight as we talk some more Clemson sports, football, baseball, basketball, softball, anything and everything you want to talk about, we want to talk about, and we're here for it. We try to give you an hour of the best Clemson content, and most things that are going on this week we want to talk about, and we want you to get in as well. So make sure you get into the comments and hit the like button first, but also let us know who you are and throw in some questions so we can answer them as we go. It's not just my show, even though it's the Morgan Thomas Show, but it's also your show as well. You can get in. And it's not just my show and your show, but we have two other co-hosts as well. Let me go ahead and bring them in. A guy who wasn't here last week because he was out participating in NBA tryouts. Big Al, Alan Adams. Welcome in.
NBA tryouts, the NBA Z League, maybe. But, a little church basketball, glad to come out of retirement and play a little bit. Got a game tonight, so this is my pregame tonight. So we need to get some energy going, get some good conversation happening because I'm ready to rock and roll at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see a big W in on the winning circle, on the winning side of your record here. I know last week you missed the show and didn't get the W, if I'm correct.
55-53. It was brutal. Yeah, we were a little shorthanded, and good news, we're going to be shorthanded again tonight. So a lot of old guys trying to play a lot of minutes that they probably shouldn't be playing. So it should be fun.
Speaking of old guys, let's bring in Mr. Houston Burnett to round out the group of three. Welcome
I'm younger than both of you. Why are you calling me an old guy?
I like to make myself feel better.
Yeah. This is Big Al's press conference. Al, how are we feeling about tonight? What kind of things are you going to try to do to get the dub tonight?
Well, I got to tell you, making baskets is first on my list. I struggle with that at times, so this will be a good opportunity for me to get that kind of rolling. I like to get my teammates involved as well, so that should be fun.
Can you respond to the rumors that you have been on human growth hormone to start the season?
I probably should be. I need something, man. I tell you, a couple times up and down the court, and I'm needing a breather. So it's gonna be real interesting. But hey, I'm looking forward to it as always. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a good show. We're kind of impromptu, off the cuff. We're gonna be figuring out as we go tonight because we did no prep tonight, and I've actually been running since 4 o'clock this morning because if you guys weren't aware, which Alan and Houston are aware, but if you're not aware, started doing producing for the Mickey Plyler's show in the morning on 105.5 to Roar. I'm going to do it every Thursday night for really until I can't do it anymore. So Thursday night, or not Thursday night, Thursday morning, Thursday night for our show, but Thursday morning for Mickey's show, 6 a.m. 6 a.m., baby. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'll be producing. And it's interesting because it's the complete opposite of this show because it's the Mickey Plyler show. He does all the talking. Is that crazy?
Well, now you get to know how we feel.
Well, I want to just go ahead and say I'm sorry. All right. It really hurts me deep that you guys don't get to talk that much. But
no, I don't think so.
I can have some empathy now. I can feel your pain. Doesn't mean I'm going to change. But I can feel it. It's there somewhere. Let's get into the comments and say hello and give a cheer to the people who got in early. And I just had to press that button. Now I'm sorry. I could not resist pressing the button.
Couldn't be helped.
Let's get in and let's say some hellos to some people out there. John, Clemson Carson, Kevron gets in, Mark Childress is in, Tyree gets in, and Clemson Tiger 300. So let's go ahead and get through some of the questions that are out there already. John throws in, he says, a class of 3 so far. Who's next? Osborne. All right, so we're getting quick in to the recruiting talk here. Now, I know we try to avoid speculation because we don't have any behind the scenes stuff, but who would you like to possibly see next? I mean, obviously it's exciting to see players go ahead and commit early because that's typically what Clemson is known for, is those early commits. and building out their class. For the past, I don't know how many years, it seems like they already have their class already filled out. This last year was like a shock to the system and scared everybody to death. But the typical is that most of it's rounded out well before the season even starts. So it seems like, with the guys the two guys that came in recently, and then you already had Nathaniel Joseph. Now you got three. Is who could possibly be next? And I'll already tell you what Paul Strelo said on Mickey's show. And I don't know if I can say the name right, but it's the edge guy, David. Can you help me with the Ojigbe? David Ojigbe.
It's Ojigbe or Jigbe.
Ojigbe, potato. I think that he is one that's high on there, and he's been crystal balled by 24/7. So, Al, we'll start with you. Maybe you don't know who's next, but maybe who would you like to see next?
Well, you know me, offensive and defensive line. That's my forte, and it's specifically defensive end. That's kind of where my bread is buttered there. So I like that. I like the defensive ends. I like the guys that can get after the quarterback. I think it's an incredibly important position outside of quarterback. Obviously, we've already got that nailed down for this class, so I'm pretty excited about that. And any offensive lineman, any defensive end, I think is kind of where we need to go and where we need to start. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And there's several names it could be. I know Houston, I believe it was you talking earlier today about Sullivan Absher, somebody who you were looking at, and somebody Clemson is looking hard at, and that'd be an awesome pickup. I don't know if he's announced any timeline. I don't think I've seen anything necessarily, but man, it'd be nice to get one of those in the boat for sure.
Yeah, I feel like between I'm gonna butcher his name. So if you're listening, David Ojigbe, man, get in here and let me know, because I hate butchering people's names as a guy who works in HR for a living. So I would think between David Ojigbe and Sullivan Absher is probably going to be one of those two that commits next. I don't know the timeline, but you just kind of between the recruiting services that you read, it feels like those two are the ones that are coming up the most. I also wouldn't be surprised if someone like Monroe Freeling maybe commits before the big June 3rd to 5th visit weekend that Clemson seems to be building up for. It sounds like he's knocked out a lot of his visits. Clemson's still in the driver's seat with that one. And, it just kind of feels like he's wanting to knock this out before he gets to summertime. But I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot there. I feel like there's going to be a lot of developments. I've been saying this for a while. There's going to be a lot of developments going into the summer. As far as this goes, the biggest news was the summer official visit. They don't really do that. Well, they're doing it this year, and buddy, it's going to be stacked with people coming in. That's going to be a huge recruiting weekend, and I look forward to it. But I think before then, I don't want to put a number on it just because this is already shaped up to be a weird year across the board for recruits. Nobody's committing to anybody right now, so I think Clemson's really fortunate to have the three they have. But I think you could probably see Clemson get 2 to 3 more before June.
I think I look at some of the video on him, and somebody gets in the chat. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Isley Pendleton Jr. gets in. Are there any centers being recruited? I know that's kind of been a hot topic this year with Will Putnam kind of taking over the center position. Ryan Linthicum had a couple of, I don't know if you'd call them false starts at the spring game. He's still kind of working his way into the starting lineup there, or potential to be even a backup. So he's one that we're kind of waiting in the wings to see what he'll do. But is there anybody on the list that you think could fit into a center role? I'm seeing Absher as a tackle, but then I'm also seeing film of him doing some center role. Is that a possibility or no?
I would say it's definitely a possibility. Clemson does that with all their linemen. They like to cross train a lot of those guys, so they'll find anybody that can fit in that role, and do whatever the team needs them to do. I think the one that kind of profiles as the best fit at center would be a guy like Harris Sewell out of Texas, but he's who knows if we're going to be able to pry him out of Texas. I don't really know. I'm not no inside info there or anything like that, but I think as far as the ones that are on Clemson's board, the names you hear the most from all the recruiting sites, he's probably the one that profiles the most as a center.
And actually, now that I think about it, it was 6 a.m. this morning, so I might have been a little bit groggy from all that. But I think it might have been Sewell that I'm thinking of, and not Absher. But Houston, do you agree?
Oh, okay.
Well, it could be that Sewell. I also want to say, like, it also depends on who and how much eligibility this presumed lineman that Clemson's going to be taking from the portal has. Could be someone with 2 to 3 years. That's a very high-profile person that I don't know if Clemson's reached out to or not, or who they've reached out to as far as an offensive lineman goes. If it's a grad transfer, I'm sure there probably will be somebody that they're looking at for center. It could be Harris Sewell. I'm not sure about the other names. I know the name that keeps popping up is the kid from Dorman whose dad went to UNC. That they haven't offered yet, but I think it's because he hasn't camped with Clemson yet. And I think it's going to be a hard one anyway. But yeah, I would say it depends on what happens with the transfer portal, who they're ending up getting it with that position.
Clemson Carson gets in, says, "What's up, y'all?" Well, what's up, Clemson Carson? And don't forget, if you are watching the show for the first time, we do this every Thursday night, 7 p.m. You can catch me here. You can catch the guys there. And Houston, Radio Guy Houston over on Twitter, he's going to be starting to do some writing pretty soon. Is that right?
Yeah, rubbingtherock.com. Fellas over at Seldom News Reserve got a hold of that site. So me, Marty Coleman, the Seldom News Reserve, Casey the Beef Cregan, and John Chauncey, we're all getting together and start churning it out. So I think I'm going to be officially official in like a couple days. And I'll probably have my first piece out before the end of this month or beginning of next month, one of those two.
Nice. Well, that's exciting. And I look forward to seeing some of your articles for sure. Al, something big for you that just came up.
Oh, gosh.
Report says Sammy Watkins signing with an NFC team. You go read it. Sammy Watkins found a new landing spot. He is going to the Green Bay Packers. 1 year, $4 million, according to Adam Schefter. Previously he had stops in LA, Kansas City, Baltimore, obviously a guy that we love from Clemson University. And also recently spoke to University of South Florida and Jeff Scott and his team down there about his development on and off the field as a player, but also a man who is leading his family. So, obviously a great product out of Florida, great product out of Clemson. This is just a 1-year deal. Mm-hmm. So I know that going into it, you lose Devontae Adams, and that is a huge blow. I mean, one of the best, if not the best wide receiver. But when you see that you've gotten Sammy Watkins, is that helpful for you, or you like, I don't know how much he's really going to help? Last year, he had a career low, 27 catches, 394 yards, and only 1 touchdown. So he's not necessarily coming off the greatest year in the world.
Well, anytime, you lose any Adams off of any team is pretty brutal, right? I mean, this. I was.
I don't know this. You're always on my team.
That's true. It's really irritating to me, to be honest, because I feel like Aaron Rodgers has been, crying for years about, you don't include me and you're not getting me receiver help and blah, 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 blah. And he whined so much about his contract and finally got paid, now he's the most, highly paid quarterback or player in the NFL or whatever. And what he had to sacrifice to do it, his best wide receiver, the guy that bails him out all the time. It baffles me that kind of stuff goes on. Tom Brady gets it. He gets paid less. His guys get paid more, and he's surrounded with talent. That's what it's all about, and that's how you win championships. That's why he's the best at it. And I wish Rodgers would understand that a little more. And I like Sammy Watkins. I think he can be great with Rodgers if he can stay on the field. Sammy's had some injury issues over most of his career, but hey, we've seen the talent. We like the ability he brings to the table. So I'm hoping it's a good year, a good match.
Houston, I know you're not a Green Bay Packer fan, but I thought I would bring up NFL with you real quick too. Okay. Malik Willis in the latest mock draft I saw going to the Panthers. Al, I don't think you're a Panthers fan, so I won't ask you anything about that. But Houston, does the Panthers need to go after Malik Willis? I mean, he could be the best quarterback in the draft, but that's not a very good draft.
This is a terrible quarterback draft, and the Panthers select a quarterback. They're setting themselves up to be looking for another quarterback in 3 years. Hopefully, maybe this is a blessing in disguise.
Well, at least that's something they're used to.
Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe you go swing and strike out getting Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. I keep seeing those names. I don't want either of them. I want to be abundantly clear. I don't want either of them. But maybe if they get him, maybe this is going to set up for tanking for Cade here in about 3 years.
Tank for Cade Klubnik with the Panthers already? You're calling it already?
Maybe. I mean, if you get an offensive tackle, maybe you'll be okay. Maybe you get some trades, but you struck out with Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson went to the freaking Browns over you. You hung with Deshaun through this entire situation, and he still goes to the Browns. So, like, I don't know what the deal is. Matt Rule is living on borrowed time right now. I really think Tepper needs to get his act together. I know that he wants to build a quality organization, but it's just kind of a mess right now. So,
John Sarian gets in on YouTube, and I've thought this too, John. I'm glad you brought this up. Do the Panthers hate Clemson grads? It seems like they definitely like Gamecock grads, but last one I can think of was practice squad Ben Boulware, but they really don't give many guys the chance that wear orange, it seems like.
Well, I mean, they did play a season in Clemson, and more than likely, if they build a new stadium, they're going to be playing another season either in Clemson or Columbia. But I don't know. Like, I know there was rumors within the office that Richardson had some issues, but Tepper doesn't care. And, I mean, if you remember, he was looking at Isaiah Simmons a couple years ago, and they ended up going with Derek Brown, who was a good player. That was more of a need than Isaiah Simmons at the time. And they also were going after Deshaun. So Tepper doesn't hate Clemson grads. It's just they swing and miss every time.
Okay. Talking about more Clemson grads, Al, I know you like some of this NFL talk.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, John Chansey gets in over on Facebook and says, here's hoping Clemson passes the RTR background check.
Houston's my name.
Houston passes the RTR background check.
I think it did.
What did I say?
You said my name's Clemson. Ironically enough. It's a character's name on Peacemaker. That's a show that I've been watching lately. So.
Okay, so let me try that again. Here's hoping Houston
You almost said it again.
I almost did it again. Houston passes the RTR background checks.
I think I'm all right.
Debatable.
You think you're good? All right.
Yeah,
all right.
I think I'm good.
I mean, at least they're watching out for you. All right, Al, back to my other thought here.
Yeah, please.
Trevor Lawrence excited to play with Travis Etienne returning. All right. Obviously, Travis Etienne been out. He tore his Achilles early in last season. We didn't get to see the duo that we were all looking forward to. Now he comes out and mentions that with the NFL draft coming up, could have another reunitation there, a reunification. And it could be with Justin Ross. So we could have another national championship reunification.
Yeah.
Between the three now, a conglomerate, if you will, of champions. So he says, I'm really excited to have Travis Etienne back. Obviously, I know how talented he is, but also last year wasn't the easiest thing having to sit out. Got drafted in the first round. Obviously, me and him somewhere together. We're ready to make an impact. And then he gets hurt in the preseason game. Then he goes on to say, I just know he's going to add a spark for us. And obviously, a combination of him and James Robinson is going to be really great. And then he also says about Justin Ross, I know he's a great player and all that, and I would love to play with him. If it ends up working out, who knows what it'll be. But I think he's going to do great wherever he ends up. But obviously, it'd be nice to have someone, a familiar face, and pick back up right where they left off. Mm-hmm. Al, do you think that you would like to see that? You think that, I mean, we haven't really seen, what we thought we would see from Justin Ross, we really didn't get to see. So what do you think?
Yeah, I would love to see that. Absolutely. The more Clemson players get to play together, the cooler it is, and the bigger draw it is for me to the NFL. Because outside of my Packers bubble, I don't really care for the most part. And the one I cared about the most was Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, and then of course the disaster of a year that they had when Etienne went out, and the Jaguars just really stunk. It was tough. It was tough to watch, but to have those three guys healthy, knowing each other, being able to go out there and have a little fun together, make some money together, put on a show, I'm all for it, and I would definitely watch for sure.
Houston, it can't be a problem because you look at LA or you look at Las Vegas, excuse me, and Las Vegas has seemed to be anti-Panther strategy and actually pulling in Clemson players. So maybe the Jaguars are that Southern team that's going to do it.
I mean, maybe they are. I mean, I hope that there are a few teams. The Texans were on that way, and then they got Gamecock management, and that kind of screwed things up there, I guess. But I hope the Panthers eventually get like a Clemson guy. I know that Clemson or the Panthers don't need a corner. I'd love to see Booth with the Panthers, but there's no real need for him right now in that position. Just kind of thinking next year's draft, Clemson's going to have a, bevy of defensive line talent that goes to the league. So maybe the Panthers can get anybody from the line that goes into the draft next year, or maybe Trenton Simpson or somebody. But the Panthers need to step up because you got a lot of talent in Clemson, and you're just kind of not taking it.
Let's go back into the chat here. Big Show gets in over on YouTube. Why isn't the number one center we got in 2021 not starting? I think that's a difficult question to say. And again, I saw him in the spring game, and it didn't seem like, he was really on the same page. It is very difficult with that spring game. I know that you're going to get, we are going to get flack for saying you really can't judge much from it. And a lot of people will say, well, that's exactly what we said last year. And look how disastrous the offense was last year. I really can't, rebut that either. I mean, it is a true statement. So Al, what's up with the number one center from 2021? Ryan Linthicum, I believe, is who he's talking about.
Yeah, that's got to be who he's talking about. And I mean, plain and simple, he's not ready yet. I mean, he got to campus with a lot to do to reshape his body and kind of get ready in that respect. Which for some guys, I mean, it takes a full 3-4 years sometimes for that to happen, to get ready and to really make the commitment and do what they need to do in the weight room and nutrition wise and all that kind of stuff. So he's not ready yet. He certainly didn't look ready in the spring game. Again, it is like Morgan said, it's really difficult to judge a spring game. It's very hard. It's tough for the quarterbacks because they didn't have any receivers hardly healthy, and then they had half of those on opposite teams. It was kind of tough. And of course, an offensive line, when we're at full strength, I think we have a solid offensive line when we're at full strength, but we haven't been at full strength, and it was a split squad there too. So and they were trying to go with a defensive line that's 3 deep. So it's kind of tough. It was kind of made to for the offense to look bad, and to be honest, they really did for the most part. So Linthicum just not ready. Whether he gets ready or not, it's a different story. But I wouldn't give up on him yet. I've seen too many guys at Clemson, come on in their 4th year and stuff like that to be counted out. But it's certainly disappointing when he's the number one center. He was touted as the number one center in the nation, and that's kind of disappointing that he wasn't a little more ready than he is.
Now, Houston, John Sarian gets in over on YouTube and says, isn't center one of the harder O-line positions to master? Not for me, because, I'm a jack of all trades, and I can master anything you give me as long as there's a couple of YouTube tutorials out there.
Yeah, I mean, center is it is. I mean, think about this. The center is the quarterback of the line a lot of times. They're the ones picking up central coverages. They're the ones that are going on ground, grass, gush, whatever the calls are. They have to relay that to the rest of the line, and then from there it kind of goes throughout the line. You have to be able to snap the ball, which, I mean, look, it may sound easy. It's not, especially when you got a 350-pound nose tackle like Dexter Lawrence or Brian Brzee lined up against you. And then once you do that, you have to be able to come off in the proper technique, proper spot. Sometimes you're going to be going on a different guy than who you're matched up on if you're double coverage, who you're going to be going against. So it is hard because you're like the I don't know, you're kind of like the spine of the offensive line. You kind of help motor everything. Everything kind of goes through you, the central nervous system of the offensive line and really of the offense. Because if you have a bad snap, that could put you 20 yards behind the chains. If you have the wrong coverage, you could get your running back blown up or your quarterback sacked, or everything kind of runs through there. So it is important to have a good center. It's also one of these things where if it is beneficial to cross train several guys, because look, if push comes to shove and you have to start Will Putnam, that's not a horrible thing. He at least knows. And here's the thing: he didn't look bad. Will Putnam has not looked bad at center compared to what he did at guard last year. So it's just one of those things. It's very important, but also I can understand why they cross train.
I think cross training is a good idea for sure. I mean, you got to keep them rotated, especially as paranoid as we all are with the with the depth of Clemson's offense in general right now. We just got to be safe is what we got to do for sure. Bill is over. He says he's over at the softball game right now. Thank you, Bill, for watching while you're at the softball game. Pay attention to the ladies. They're playing Notre Dame right now. He says Cagle flies out with the bases loaded, still 2-1 BB heads. So that's who he's calling the Notre Dame Fighting Irish there. By the way, Big Al, I don't know if you heard me on the radio this morning, but last night, all right, was our second game of the season for Annabeth's 9 and under softball team. And the first game she didn't get any hits, but they tied. They tied 5-5 against Malden's team. This game was the first game against a Fountain Inn team within the league. A lot of family members there, like 4 cousins, 3 cousins and aunts and uncles, and me and Mom were there. And Al, I am the self-appointed dugout manager. All right, I am the lineup manager. Now I'm not a coach. All right. I want to be a coach because I talk so much, but I have volunteered myself to be the dugout manager. So I make sure that the right person's at the plate and the right person is on deck and the right person is in the hole ready to rotate. Very important. I make sure that they don't go to the plate while the ball is still in play. I make sure of that. And I make sure we have the bats moved, right? So I'm there and I'm on the field. I'm up front. Annabeth strikes out the first time. Now, earlier that day, I have a bucket of balls. We did 60 balls on the tee. She hit them. Boom, boom, boom. I'm thinking, okay, we just keep practicing with the tee. It's going to get better, right? She comes up to bat second, Big Al. She slaps it and gets on first base for her first ever hit. Not to mention, a few days ago, I told her, if you get your first hit, I'm going to buy that Barbie you wanted. So that was a $25 hit. $25 hit it cost me, guys. So, but I'm very proud. She did get forced out at second, in the very next play, but she got on base. So, hey, I'm all for it. The ladies, the Night Fury of Fountain Inn, they ended up winning 11-8 was your final. So right on. 1-0-1 right now for the ladies. So I'm excited, as you can tell. Oh, yeah. Let's get into the chat real quick and give a shout out to some people. Clemson Carson gets in and he says, what I want to see this year is for the tight ends to be used more. We've got an absolute stud in Brenningstool and also Davis Allen, who's shown some promise as well. And that kind of is a good bring up there because they just landed Reed Mikeska. They just landed Reed Mikeska. We got got all these hard names, but we just landed him. And I love his film, guys. I'm looking at his film. He's running and being in a position, in an H-back type position that I feel like in that pistol type formation that I feel like Brandon Streeter might pull out some more. He's going to be great. He's already going to be ready and be running out of the same similar type of position. And Al, we always talk. You see guys like Jaleel Skinner, and all they do is run deep balls all the time. Mm-hmm. You see a guy like Reed out there, and he's not only is he running deep, he's going down the seam, he's going out routes, he's going in, he's doing motions and then going into a block, he's going motions and into the short flats. I love what I see from him. So obviously he is in the future. So we'll put him on the parking lot right now. That's 2023 freshman there. But the guys that are on there now, Brenningstool and Allen, there has got to eventually be this back to the mean of performance from the tight end, right? I mean, we've gone so many years not really seeing the tight ends light up the scoreboard. When is it coming back, and is 2022 the year?
Hey, Clemson Carson is, if he's watched this show at all, we've been talking about this for years, that we want the tight ends. I love the tight ends. I think the tight end is one of the most underutilized weapons in the entire game. And Clemson, I think, is one of the most egregious offenders because we just don't seem to use them like I would like to use them. Now, I understand not everybody's got a Kyle Pitts, okay? So, I understand that and I get that. But these guys, if they learn the position, learn how to find those spots in the zone. I mean, those guys are open. They're mismatches for anybody that's trying to cover them. And I think Brenning Stool's going to be able to exploit that. And Davis Allen's a solid guy as well. So that's nothing. We've got the talent. We've just got to learn how to use them better, in my opinion. McKeska, I like you mentioned. I love his film. He's always looking to mash somebody too. When he gets after the block, I love it. I think he's good at everything. I don't think he's great at necessarily anything except for run blocking, which is awesome. But he gives you enough in the passing game to be dangerous, and I just want Clemson to use it because if they're using the tight end, they're taking advantage of mismatches, and they're probably using the middle of the field a little more, which is a good thing in my book.
Now I see Mike Ska when I look at it. My brain can't not say Mike Ska, but if you break it down into 3 syllables, McKeska.
Maybe you're right. Yeah,
that is better. So not Mike Ska, it's McKeska. So that's 3 syllables.
How I pronounce it.
All right. Houston, we have to pause you for a second because we have a donation. We have a tip from the Big Show for $10. Thank you so much, the Big Show. Thank you. We're going to give him all the kind of claps and chants, and let's give him the golf clap. Let's give him the
Big Show, he almost played a fart noise on accident.
We don't have that on this soundboard, Houston. We got rid of that one.
Lies.
Yeah. So Big Show says, and now when you give a tip, we have to give you a shout out. We have to do all this because we really appreciate it, guys. We don't do it for the money, but because we would all be, poor and broke. But we do it because we love Clemson. We do it because we're Clemson fans and Clemson grads. So how many shows out there do you know have 3 Clemson grads and 3 Clemson fans? And we do it because, we really love Clemson football, but not just Clemson football because we talk all things Clemson. So, but we just like talking, really. And these guys just came along for the ride too. So Big Show, $10. Keep up the good work. How y'all think the offensive line will do with the new coach? He's talking about Thomas Austin there. I feel we have too much talent to be doing what we have at the offensive line. So, Houston, I'll roll it back to you because you were kind of next in line there. Yeah. I don't know much about Thomas Austin other than that I know he played for Clemson and I know he was a good player. How that transitions into a coach, I don't really know yet. How that transitions into a recruiter, I don't know. But to be honest with you, from what I've heard from where he's coming from under the tutelage of Robbie Caldwell, I know a lot of people were like, hey, I wish that they were different. I wish there were some changes there. But Robbie did get kind of a tough hand, with a lot of injuries and a lot of fresh faces that had to be inserted in last minute. So I don't beat up Robbie. I do feel like that maybe the game has evolved from what, he originally was so good at. So maybe Thomas Austin has that fresh stamp or fresh look at things where it can help the offensive line. Sometimes I even said this last year. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think sometimes they just were too complicated. Just block the guy in front of you. Now I know that's too simple, but Houston, let me know.
So let's break this down. I know Thomas Austin, great guy. I think he's going to be a great coach. He was an offensive line coach at Georgia State. The only 2 years they've had a winning season was when he was the offensive line coach. Or I don't know if I think they went to a bowl game last year. So 2 out of the first 3 winning seasons they've had. Well, here's the thing. He came back to Clemson with the expectations to be a coach. He took a GA or an analyst role with that expectation, and Robbie Caldwell was stepping down. I think they have 2 different styles. I think that Thomas Austin came along during a time when there was, as a player, where there was a lot of change in college football, and certain times Clemson got exposed, especially his senior year when they got, or junior senior year when they got beat by Alabama. He's gotten to see a lot of profiles, experience the change in the game to know what he's looking for. And from what I see, what he's recruiting-wise, I think he's going to take Clemson a step forward. I think recruiting-wise, Clemson has taken a step forward in the last 2 to 3 classes of we got, high caliber guys. Now it's just getting them healthy and getting them on the field. And I think you've got a guy that understands that. And I think you got a guy that, it's gonna eventually take shape for something for our offensive line, especially under Austin. I think he's out of the coaches, he's probably one of the best pickups in the offseason that they had, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. I'm probably the most confident in him that he can build up a really strong unit and continue that into the recruiting trail. So I like Thomas Austin. I think he's going to be a player's coach. I think players are going to really like him. It's just got to come together. That's all it's got to do.
Al, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so look, so far from what I've seen from Thomas Austin, I really love it. I like the fact that he's a young guy. I think that's going to resonate with recruits. And I got to tell you, we're going to find out what he's all about with his first recruiting class because he's in it for some big-time guys. And if he lands 3 or 4 of these guys, it's going to be one of the best offensive line classes Clemson has hauled in. And something that you can tell about his philosophy so far is that he likes the beef. He likes big guys. Tall guys, big guys. He's making our offensive line or attempting to make our offensive line look like an Alabama's offensive line. And that's what you need. It's these guys that are really hard to move, and that's what he's doing. And I'm hoping he's, going to be able to land some of these guys and make that happen. Because, look, we've had some talented guys in the past, but Robbie Caldwell, that was a tough job because we were not getting the elite of the elite, on offensive line, not across the board. We'd get 1 or 2 guys here and there, but even sometimes then, they'd end up injured or they wouldn't pan out like Fru Morgan. When we landed Fru Morgan and Hyatt, that was one of the best tackle combos we've ever landed, maybe the best, at least on paper, coming out of high school. And Fru Morgan just did not pan out in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And Hyatt was a great left tackle in college. And he's not even – I don't even know if he's playing in the NFL now at all. He was just a good college player. So it's tough. I don't want to say like we should be doing better than what we are on offensive line. We probably should be. But at the same time, when you're dealing with all kind of injuries and things like that as well, it's tough. It's tough to do. But I think Austin's going to turn it around. I could end up being dead wrong, but I think this guy was a home run hire, and I think he's going to pay dividends sooner rather than later.
John Sarian gets in over on YouTube and says Austin is more relatable to high school kids. They probably respected Caldwell, but like most respect their granddad. And there could be an age gap there that John is mentioning as well. When you talk about the beef, as Big Al mentioned, a lot of times, Al, we were looking at guys. I mean, everybody picked on Mason Trotter for being so undersized and underwhelming in that sense. Let's look at who is out there for offensive tackles. 6'5", 280, Luke Montgomery. Chase Bizantis, 6'5", 290. Monroe Freeling, 6'7", 283. Zachariah Owens, 6'6", 345. Woo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Alaus Alinen. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry.
I think he's eliminated us, but yeah.
He's eliminated us? Okay. Well, 6'6", 315. Sullivan Absher, 6'7", 290. And these are guys that are 290, and they're not – they're juniors. Okay? They're juniors. They're not seniors yet. They still have a year to go. Absher, 6'7", 290. Ian Reed, 6'6", 290. Where are my interior offensive line? Harris Sewell, 6'4", 290. Marquis Anderson, 6'4.5", 305. Roger Kearney, 6'4", 300. Sam Pendleton, 6'4", 305. And Joshua Miller, who's committed to Penn State, 6'5", 320. So, it's rare. I mean, you're talking about guys that are juniors, and the lowest we really read there was like 280. And we got guys, to your guys' point, we got some guys out there that are college juniors and are 280, and that's about as much as they can be. So, it's one of those things, if they get bigger, does that always work immediately? I mean, getting bigger, is that like a foolproof way? I mean, I look at the defenses like what Clemson has, and I know Clemson is one of the best in the nation, and that's who Clemson's going to ultimately try to beat, right, in the playoffs. That's where you want to be. Beating Georgia Tech is not the goal. Well, it is the first goal because it's the home opener. It's the opener, right? But at the end of the day, you want to compete with the defensive lines that are as good or similar, maybe not as fast as Clemson, because Clemson might have the fastest defensive line, defensive ends combo out there. But is bigness always bestness? Big Al?
No, I don't think so. I don't think in general it isn't. We've had some smaller guys that have been great offensive linemen, and that's okay. It's not that you can't find them, but I think if I had to default to having all 3 stars that are undersized or all 3 stars that are gigantic, I'm taking gigantic every time. I think that's kind of something you want. They still got to be able to move. They got to be able to move their feet and carry their weight somewhat well. I mean, obviously Alabama's getting the cream of the crop, and we understand that, and that's not necessarily maybe that doesn't happen at Clemson. Maybe they're getting the second tier guys and maybe an elite one here or there, and that's fine. We can still build it like that, and we've proven we can do that. So our 2016 line didn't have a lot of trouble with Alabama. We were able to match them several times, so that was good to see. So it can be done here, and I think it's going to be done a lot more in the future.
Wow, Bill, we need a check-in over on Facebook. We need a check-in in the chat on what the score is right now with the ladies and the softball team there. If you don't mind, get in the chat if you're still watching. Hopefully you didn't go to the bathroom or something over there at the stadium. Houston, I wanted to talk about the spring game a little bit. Mm-hmm. I want to be honest. I want to be honest here. And I hope that you guys will allow me to be honest for the first time. When I saw the very first pass from DJ, I thought, here we go again. That was the ugliest throw I have seen. Now he did fix it, but I think we got a legit quarterback battle going on. I know I was saying that Cade Klubnik's not going to really have a chance till probably Halloween or so. And I know it was very hard to evaluate the two teams because the way Dabo splits it up. I mean, he knows that his team is very, very injured. He has no wide receivers. You got guys like me running around 5'9", 185, running around catching balls or attempting to catch balls against a defense that could very well be the most stacked defense out there right now. I mean, they looked amazing, but how is it hard? It's hard not to look amazing, but they looked amazing. Not only did they play amazing in their play, but they also looked amazing. I mean, even the true freshmen out there looked really good. But my thing is this: there were little things here and there where I felt like that Cade Klubnik is further along than I really thought, and he still has some weight to go, but I know it's hard to evaluate DJ, and it's hard to evaluate Cade, but he really didn't. I mean, he does look skinnier, but that's about it right now. I can't say that he looks like he's, finished this great elite quarterback training and he's got a great arm again. I want to see it. I want to be able to say it. But then on the flip side, he really didn't have anybody to throw to either. So I'm very torn, but I think there's a battle.
Yeah. So, and is this me? Can I take a second just to kind of break this down a little bit?
Break it down. That's why you're on the show, to break it down.
And sorry,
physically, and mentally, and emotionally.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog's right here. He's upset that Mama's locked him out of the room while she's working out. So if you hear him whining, he's beside.
We're like the Packer and Durham show. You can have as many dogs as you want.
Yeah, Muggsy.
You just got to pay the pet deposit.
Yeah. So here, I'll say this. I'm going to start with DJ. DJ made some good throws, and DJ made some horrendous throws. The first 3 throws that he made, or 2 misses that he had, it was just like, oh, man, that's not great. With that being said, he did make some throws, and partly this is Joseph Ngata. Joseph Ngata looked good. He looked healthy. He got out there and made some plays. He made 2 major catches, one of which I'll give credit to DJ on this one. I know the Sweeney sack thing drove me up a wall because they were doing they were really inconsistent. It was either, hey, defensive end gets past the front level and they just call it a sack, or in this case with DJ, which I have my theories of why they let this happen. Quarterback gets a touch on him and he throws the ball, and it's a good touchdown. I'll defend DJ in a sense that it shouldn't have been called a sack because it was a hands of the face on KJ Henry. That was a touchdown pass by DJ, and it was a good throw. But there's a lot of tendencies that he's still got that hasn't shown. Now, that's not to say he can't improve, but he's got to show some real improvement. I was listening to the Cover 3 podcast the other day, and they were just like, this feels like 2014 and 2018, where you had a guy, and Dabo wants to be loyal, and 3 to 4 weeks in, we're going to really know what's going to happen, if it's going to be their job, or if the new guy comes in and slings it. And I said this earlier in January and December. I was not going to crown anybody a champ or anything until I had something tangible. It's kind of tangible. And I'm not calling for a job or anything like that. I think DJ has earned the right to be a starter week 1 unless something crazy happens. But, I mean, you look at the throws that Cade was making, and he put one in between 2 safeties in a corner to Jake Brenningstool, and I was like, ooh, I haven't seen that in a while. And, I mean, we also break it down like this. I know that DJ didn't have as many guys on his side, but think about Cade. Cade had Spector, Dakari Collins for a little bit, and Jake Brenningstool, and a bunch of walk-ons, and a bunch of walk-ons on the offensive line, and he still won. They won. I mean, and this isn't against a scrub defense either. These are guys that are going to be in the rotation. He won. DJ still threw a pick. Once again, I'm not saying that's going to make or break. We can't judge anything off of this, but we have something tangible now.
Honestly, with the defense that Clemson showed at the spring game, they could keep the defense split into 2, play one week, play the other week, and still hold teams under 21. I think that the defense is that stacked, to be honest with you. Now, Al, do you put this much, behind winning the game? Because to me, I don't care who wins the game, really. But I just, I guess maybe my hopes and dreams were too high for a game like that. Should I have had less expectations?
Oh, without a doubt. If you've ever seen a spring game before in your life, you should have had less expectations. I swear. Like I said,
I guess I'm just wanting football so bad.
Hey, which I understand. Every year I question, why am I at this spring game with the split teams and all this kind of stuff? And every year I can't wait to go back. Okay, I'll just watch this player or watch this player. But it's so hard to watch just this player because they're affected by all the players around him, which is what I think was the main kind of thing with the quarterbacks. And they just didn't have enough receivers to go around. The talent was not there. I think that's going to kind of overshadow everything that you saw. Yes, I would have to say Cade looked a little bit better in that game, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it's enough to, make that separation where he's going to jump DJ all of a sudden. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, it's not to say that it can't during the year, because that's make it or break it time there. Yeah. But I don't think that's going to happen yet, nor do I think it should. And I mean, Swinney would not be a prudent guy to do that. That would not be a good move right now. You kind of want to have that so you at least have some quarterback depth going into the season. So I would certainly make like DJ's my starting guy, whether he is or whether he might not be. So yeah, it was too tough for me. Ngata and Houston was talking about Ngata earlier, and I got to tell you, I was mad at Ngata on Saturday at the spring game, because I've been bragging about him for years, waiting for him to be the guy. He showed it last year that he could be that guy, and then of course he was injured again. And when we come to the spring game, and he made some great plays, but he dropped one that hit him right in the hands. It was just like last season. DJ is making bad throws. He's making bad throws. He makes a great throw, and his receiver lets him down. I'm thinking, this cannot happen again. I mean, that's inexcusable for wide receiver you to be dropping those kind of passes. We're supposed to be catching the passes with somebody draped all over you, not one that's uncontested and hit you in the hands. I mean, we got to do better than that. And Ngata, if he's going to be the alpha, he's got to do better than that. I certainly expect him to do better than that during the year. But yeah, I just with the receiver situation the way it was too tough for me to tell, and I'm not overly concerned about it, because DJ had a pretty ball early on in the game that would have been a touchdown probably if it was anybody else. I can't even remember the guy he threw it to. Houston, I think you told me who it was. Going down the sideline, he threw he lobbed up a pass, and it was real pretty.
Luke Price?
Yeah.
Luke Price. Yeah.
And I think if it was anybody else, that's probably a catch, and it may be even a touchdown. But it's one of those things, you're not as used to throwing with those guys. It's not the timing you're looking for. It's not it's not Collins, it's not Bo or anybody like that. So it's hard, but I'm not taking too much stock into it, especially in the spring game. I've seen too many spree games to take too much stock into it.
Just a heads up, fellas, the ladies softball team playing Notre Dame right now. They just headed into the bottom of the seventh, the final inning. They're down 2-1, looking to rally. The previous inning at the top of the seventh, Mackenzie Clark sprints literally 50 yards across the outfield to get a catch to bring it in. So they got some great defense going there from their center fielder, but looking to rally down 1 in the final inning there. I don't know. It doesn't say who's up next. I'm going to keep refreshing over on the softball Twitter page to see. All right. So it's 7:57. One thing I like about doing Mickey Plyler's show is his 2-minute drill. Okay. So he does a 2-minute drill at the end where you just kind of give your thought. You give any kind of thought you want. I'm not going to steal that. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just not going to steal the name. So anything we didn't talk about that we need to cover, or you feel like you need to give a blast out with the last 3 minutes to go. So Houston, Alan, you get 2 minutes. Houston, you get 1. Just kidding. Everybody gets 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can go beyond.
So to be in 2 minutes, not 2 minutes each. That's a 6-minute drill. It's a half a quarter.
Well, however you do the math. I said I wasn't going to call it the 2-minute drill, so it doesn't matter really. I mean, all right. So since we're at our hour, and I know everybody, everybody's got a lot of things going on this weekend, a lot of probably family in town or places to travel, so we want to get them out of here. But let's call it gathering at the Paw. Let's gather at the Paw here for the end of the show. Tell me anything that we didn't cover. I know we talked a lot about Clemson football. We didn't get really a chance to talk about baseball. We didn't get a chance to. I have a whole topic here about basketball and about the fact that we finally said we want to go to the Final Four with basketball, but we didn't even get to that. So, but Houston, I'll have you start here. We're at the Paw. What's your final thoughts of the show?
So am I allowed to talk about that basketball thing? That's you.
Yeah, I cannot tell you what not to talk about.
Okay. Well, I was going to say it's kind of ironic that after this basketball season, a note sent out to the ticket holders, and you can probably hear my child screaming bloody murder in the background.
You're good, man. You're good.
But anyway, I just find it ironic that this is the first time that he's staunchly, meaning Brad Brownell, has staunchly gotten up and defended his program now going into his 13th year. And from the first time that I can really remember is hearing him say that he has expectations for a Final Four, which is something that I've never heard a Clemson basketball coach say. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like he was given an ultimatum by Graham. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading between the lines. Maybe I'm dramatic, but it sounds to me like there is a little bit more buy-in from this administration that's now come in, and the expectation isn't to sit around and get our teeth kicked in week to week. He wants to do something special, and basically he's giving Brad Brownell this year with this roster to build something special, or else we're going to see what else we can do.
Little check-in on the softball team. Runner on first base, there was a blooper to left center. It got down. Now there's runners on third and second with 1 out, 2-1 still. I'm only getting the updates from Twitter, Al, so I might be a little behind. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, Bill just posted that in the comments a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Third. So Bill's got us covered.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. I'll throw it up on the chat for you.
There he is.
Bill, you have to get in and tell us what happens. It's a tense situation to rally coming back. Al, final thoughts.
So final thoughts. Well, I guess now's my time to gripe a little bit about baseball. I hate to do it because you know how much I love Tiger baseball, but man, it's just not good. Swept at Notre Dame. Just bad. And hey, Notre Dame's a good team. If we had won some of the other ones, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. Notre Dame's a good team, and I understand that. We were just overmatched, plain and simple. And we did get the midweek against handled USC Upstate. We're changing the lineup this weekend. Jay Dill is actually going to get the start on Saturday, and potentially Barlow, who is our midweek guy, is going to get the start on Sunday. Again, things could change, but I just think it's too little, too late. Maybe we see, but I kind of made the decision after we got swept against Notre Dame that I can't just waste my time, 3 hours, 4 nights a week watching this team when the product is the way it is. I hate that for our man Cooper Ingle, who wanted to see some shows, but Cooper, it's a sad state of affairs right now, and I can't do the show when we're doing this poorly. It hurts my heart too much. But just know I am still there pulling for you guys. I watch when I can, and hope you got it turned around. I hope Will Taylor comes in the lineup sooner rather than later. We keep getting, Will Taylor's going to be back. He's going to be back, and he's just not back. So I think you make a big difference in the lineup, and I'm pulling for the Tigers. I hope they can get this thing turned around. And hey, I will be there if they make it to the ACC tournament. I will be there, and with all hope that they can win the ACC tournament and make it into the NCAAs, because that's what I do every time they're on the brink. So looking forward to it, but hopefully they can get it turned around.
Aren't they like last place in the ACC right now? So,
yes, they are.
So we got a little ways to go.
It's not good. They're 2-9. They're bad. Oh, and by the way, check out Bill's comment over there on the side.
Oh, out at the plate, under review but upheld. Hopefully that was at the end of the game. I don't see any posts yet. Obviously, they're not going to post that if it was bad for the Tigers, but I don't see any post yet of confirmation there. But the girls softball team playing right now, I guess, the softball team, I don't need to say the girls softball team, but the softball team is playing now. So I'll tell you this, Al, one thing I love about being on Mickey's show is that I get to see a perspective from a host that I really have not listened to much. Especially since COVID happened. I used to listen to him going to work every single day. And then I would at lunch listen to Kwok and Kelly every single day. But now that I'm doing the producing and I haven't really heard Mickey in a few years, I enjoy his take on things. Now he always has a golf, kind of analogy, right? Yeah. Well, he said, I really feel like, and I don't know if it was him or one of his friends that told him this, but so his story was he was playing golf with a friend of his, and they were not doing very well. They were in a tournament, and his friend got upset and dumped all the clubs out, dumped them all out, rearranged them in the bag, and then they ended up doing a lot better. And I don't know, winning but doing a lot better. And he said, that's what the baseball team needs to do. Now, I don't know how that equates to what the baseball team needs to do. Maybe it's switching around the lineup. Maybe it's putting some guys that are on the bench in the field and giving them an opportunity, some sort of spark to get them going, I think would be appropriate. But again, you get that frustration. I feel like there's frustration in basketball, as Houston was talking about. I feel like there's also frustration in baseball right now. It seems like there's some sort of invisible ceiling right now. And maybe the teams and the coaches that are there can break through that. And maybe they can't. Who knows? We have yet to see. All right. So
check it.
Tie game. That's what I'm talking about, baby. All right. Let me refresh over here on Twitter. Al, thank you for sharing that. Still haven't posted it up. Bill, if you could tell us why it's a tie game, what happened? So we haven't seen it, but so here's my thing. What we have, and I'm hearing this on Paul Feinbaum, and people like Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban and Ryan Day and even Lincoln Riley. These media guys just frustrate me so much, because when an elite coach who has everything in the world, like these top coaches in the nation, complain about how the NIL and how the transfer portal and how everything is being not managed, the lack of management in those things. What do those media idiots do with the big ears? What do? They say, oh, well, they're just they can't have it their way anymore. It's now in the players' control. No, it's not in the players' control. There's nobody in control. And if there's anybody in control, it's not the coaches, it's not the schools, it's not really the players. It's actually the people with the big pockets. We are confusing ourselves if we think that the players are in control and they're getting a piece of the pie. The people that are making out on this like bandits are those donors and those guys behind the scenes buying players. Now, let me tell you an example here. These collectives are really, really concerning me, because what we thought, or at least what I thought NIL was similar to what you and I do, guys. What we go out, we put out a product, And then we go out and we try to find sponsors for us, right? We try to find a sponsor for the show. We put in the work. We pitch it to them. We tell them what we're going to do. And then in return, we give them ads. We give them graphics. We go to their store. We promote their stuff constantly, right? What we're seeing is a little bit of that, but like as a marketer, it just frustrates me so much because what we're seeing is you pay a player a lot of money and they'll say, hey, my name's Houston Burnett and I like McDonald's and you should too. Hey, my name's Alan Adams and I like Bounty Quicker Picker Upper and you should too. That is the laziest requirement to market any kind of product. And I know you're not Messy Al, and I know Houston, you hate McDonald's, but either way, that is the laziest requirement. So to me, if you're going to market something, make these players market it. Don't just make them do these lame-o posts out there that make me feel as a consumer that I'm an idiot. Okay. I want to be sold to. I want to be marketed to. I want something that's high quality because they're getting paid a lot of money to just do 5 sentences. Now, on the flip side of that, Houston.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say.
Hold on one second. Let me finish.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side of that, there's these collectives. There's these collectives that we have built out of this system that are now they have money waiting. They have money waiting for players. So the player doesn't have to go find it. They don't have to go they don't have to go get a marketer. They don't have to go get an agent. They already have it waiting. So what's happening on the flip side is players, before they even go to the university, they're saying, hey, you know what? Does Clemson have a collective? Oh yeah, Clemson has a collective. Oh, well, how much is the endowment in the collective right now? What's the total over there? Oh, well, they have $5.5 million. They have 10 million. Well, how many players are getting paid over there? Oh, about 15 players are getting paid over there. Okay. Well, what about Texas A&M? Oh, well, they got everybody's getting paid over there. What about Texas? What about LSU? What about Oklahoma? Now they're going through and they're saying they're picking and choosing based on how much is getting paid before they even get to the school. Houston.
All right, if they're asking how much Clemson's able to pay, then Clemson's not going to take him. Like, I'm just going to say straight up. Like, if they're worried about money,
I think that you're confused by that, my friend.
I'm not confused.
I'm
telling you the truth. Dabo has even said it. If they're more concerned about making money than becoming a better athlete,
I don't think
I don't want NIL.
I don't think you can have that disadvantage anymore. I mean,
then
and if you do, but it's not. They're not getting paid professionally yet, right? But I feel like we've created a system to where we know that this is what coaches are saying. Nick Saban is saying it. Lincoln Riley's saying it. Ryan Day's saying it. That players are trying to decide where they're going to go based on who has the most money already before they even make this. And they said, oh, well, the NIL is not about where a player, like not about recruiting the player. When they have money waiting for you, that's recruiting.
I mean,
how dare you try to interrupt Morgan's 10-minute drill?
Yeah, I mean, look. Yeah, he's trying to run the ball from the one, man. That's what he's trying to do. I'm just saying, like, look, let this happen. I feel like this is going to bite people in the rear more than what people are going to.
It's already being let happen. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, look, Clemson is going to stick to their values, and I think it's going to end up paying off more than people want, or more than people believe. Because I mean, look, they've got NIL, but I think Clemson's pitch is honestly okay. It's like, hey, look, we're going to give you the tools. We're not going to just give you a stack of cash that you can just tap into. We're going to teach you how to capitalize on your brand. So when you leave Clemson, you still have your brand, and that's a selling point. I think it's very lazy for NIL and very lazy for a student athlete to just say, well, I can go get a bag of cash from Texas. That to me is not something I think Dabo or Clemson is going to take in multiple sports. I don't think that's what you're looking for. The second thing I want to point out to you, and this is from something that I learned in my marketing class at Clemson. I know we want to complain about, hi, I'm DJ, I go to Bojangles or whatever. All right. But when companies are reaching out to these social media influencers to literally do nothing, they don't do anything. They just take a picture with a product. And they don't even have to mention the product. They just have to have it in frame. As long as they do that and they get people to buy it, it's marketing. That's it.
It is, but
It is, but it isn't.
But it really ain't. But it really
isn't.
ain't.
Two
Just
things.
want to
Hey,
be able to do it.
we're missing the big picture here, and Bill has given us 2 updates. Val with the hit to win it, 11 in a row for Clemson softball. I think that's what's most important. And what's most important is I got to go because I got a basketball game to get to. So,
all right. Well, I appreciate everybody letting me rant on my little, whether you agree or not, one thing we all can agree on is that Clemson is really literally the best team to cheer for and the best school to go to. So you should do both. So I appreciate Al and Houston for getting in as always. Again, don't forget to follow Al in real life because he doesn't do social media. Don't forget to follow Houston at Radio Guy Houston and listen to or read his articles. And don't forget to maybe listen to me Thursday mornings over on the Mickey Plyler Show when I say hello. And if you're awake that early, seriously, I don't want you to wake up that early if you don't have to. But again, on behalf of myself, Big Al in Houston, we will see you, Tiger fans, at the top of the hill. Tiger fans, Greenville is a wonderful place to call home, and take it from me, a great place to grow your family. The housing market can be an extremely competitive and intimidating place if you don't have the right agent. That's why we recommend our friend and local agent Lana Smith with Live Upstate SC Real Estate. She is a native of Greenville and has been serving the needs of families in the upstate for over 20 years. You need an agent proficient in navigating the world of multiple offers who will put your needs first and guide you through the process. Let Lana help you achieve your real estate goals. Call her today at 864-608-8313. Again, that's 864-608-8313. And let's get moving. If you're looking for a great atmosphere and good food, you have to check out the Charleston Sports Pub. They're the premier sports bar location in South Carolina with locations in Clemson, Greenville, Goose Creek, James Island, Mount Pleasant, Summerville, and West Ashley. Watch all the games while you have fun playing all their games. Tiger fans, we dine there, legends dine there like Taj Boyd, and so should you. Go eat at the Charleston Sports Pub in Clemson every game day. 359 College Avenue, Clemson. Family owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your home HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer or warm this winter, give Heating and Cooling Services, Inc. a call today. Give Mark or Jason Trammell a call at 864-224-7655. Again, 864-224-7655, and they'll take good care of you. Tiger fans, we don't just dress for success, we TS for success. That's Tiger Sports Shop. We shop there so much that they practically begged us to be sponsors for them. Not serious, but we do love shopping at Tiger Sports Shop in one of their 2 locations, 364 College Avenue and 1102 Tiger Boulevard in Clemson. If you're not in Clemson to check out the experience, stop by online at www.tigersports.com. Again, tigersports.com for all your game day needs.